My beloved soul, listen closely because this message carries a truth that has been hidden beneath the surface for far longer than anyone expected. There is a reason these words have found you today. There is a reason your heart felt drawn toward this message. Somewhere between your past and your future, between the memories you tried to leave behind and the dreams you still secretly hold on to, a conversation has taken place. A truth has finally been spoken. And the most surprising part is that it comes from a connection you never expected to matter again. My beloved soul, your soulmate linked to your ex has finally spoken the truth, and what was revealed has started a chain of events that nobody can stop. For so long, there were stories, assumptions, misunderstandings, and opinions moving around behind closed doors. People talked. People guessed. People believed they knew what happened between you and your past. Yet very few people actually understood your heart. Very few people knew the pain you carried in silence. They saw the ending, but they never saw the nights you spent questioning yourself. They saw the distance, but they never saw the tears hidden behind your smile. They saw the breakup, but they never saw the lessons it carved into your soul. My beloved soul, your soulmate has been learning things about you little by little, and one of the most unexpected sources of information has been someone connected to your ex. This person has watched from a distance. They have listened to conversations. They have seen reactions. They have noticed things others ignored. And recently, something happened that changed everything. The truth could no longer stay hidden. The truth could no longer remain trapped beneath layers of silence. It finally came out. My beloved soul, what was spoken was not an attack against you. It was not criticism. It was not the negative story you feared people might believe. Instead, it was a realization. A realization that the version of you many people were told about never matched the reality of who you truly are. This person finally admitted that you were misunderstood. They finally admitted that many of the assumptions made about you were wrong. They finally admitted that your heart was far more genuine than people realized. And when those words were spoken, your soulmate was listening more carefully than anyone understood. My beloved soul, imagine someone hearing your name and expecting one story, only to discover a completely different truth. Imagine someone expecting flaws, only to hear about your loyalty. Imagine someone expecting drama, only to learn about your patience. Imagine someone expecting weakness, only to discover your strength. This is the shift that has been taking place. Your soulmate is beginning to see you through a clearer lens. The fog that once surrounded your image is starting to disappear. The confusion is fading. The misunderstandings are breaking apart. And what remains is the truth. My beloved soul, the deeper truth is that your past was never meant to define your future. Yet for a long time, you worried that it might. You wondered whether old stories still followed you. You wondered whether people judged you based on things they never truly understood. You wondered whether someone new could ever see the real you without the shadows of yesterday getting in the way. Listen closely because this message arrives with reassurance. The universe has a way of bringing truth into the light at exactly the right time. What was hidden eventually becomes visible. What was misunderstood eventually becomes clear. And what was falsely judged eventually reveals itself for what it truly is. My beloved soul, your soulmate is beginning to understand something powerful. They are beginning to understand that your past challenges did not break you. They shaped you. They taught you. They strengthened you. They turned you into the person you are today. And instead of seeing your history as something negative, they are starting to see it as evidence of your resilience. They are starting to see how much courage it took for you to keep moving forward. Let me take you deeper, because this story is not only about what someone said. It is about what those words awakened. When the truth was spoken, something shifted inside your soulmate. Questions they once carried started receiving answers. Doubts began dissolving. Pieces of a puzzle started falling into place. They began connecting moments that previously made no sense. They began understanding why they felt drawn toward you. They began understanding why your energy stayed on their mind even when they tried to focus elsewhere. My beloved soul, there are connections that exist beyond explanation. There are bonds that logic struggles to understand. Sometimes the heart recognizes something long before the mind catches up. Your soulmate has been experiencing this in ways they cannot fully explain. They may not have all the answers yet, but they are beginning to trust what they feel. And as they trust those feelings more, the truth they recently heard becomes even more significant. Because now they are comparing stories to reality. They are comparing assumptions to experiences. They are comparing rumors to intuition. And each time they do, they find themselves moving closer to you rather than away from you. My beloved soul, do not underestimate the power of truth spoken at the right moment. A single honest conversation can change the direction of someone's thoughts. A single revelation can break years of misunderstanding. A single realization can transform the way someone sees another person forever. This is why today's message matters. This is why your heart felt called here. Because something important is unfolding behind the scenes. Something important is rearranging energies that once felt stuck. The truth is creating movement. The truth is opening doors. The truth is clearing pathways that were blocked by confusion. And while you may not see all of it yet, the effects are already beginning. My beloved soul, I know there were moments when you questioned your worth. Moments when you wondered whether anyone would ever understand your side of the story. Moments when you felt exhausted from carrying the weight of being misunderstood. But listen carefully. The universe sees what others overlook. The universe remembers what others forget. And the universe has a way of restoring balance. The truth that has finally been spoken is not arriving by accident. It is arriving because the timing is right. It is arriving because your journey is entering a new chapter. It is arriving because clarity is replacing confusion. My beloved soul, your soulmate may not have spoken directly to you yet, but their perception is changing. Their understanding is deepening. Their awareness is expanding. And sometimes those invisible changes are the beginning of everything. Before action comes realization. Before communication comes understanding. Before connection comes clarity. Right now, clarity is growing. Right now, understanding is expanding. Right now, the truth is doing its work. And the deeper truth is this: you never needed to become someone else to be worthy of love. You never needed to erase your past to deserve your future. You never needed to prove your value to those who refuse to see it. The right person does not fall in love with a perfect illusion. They connect with the authentic soul beneath the surface. They recognize the strength hidden behind the scars. They appreciate the lessons hidden inside the struggles. They see the beauty in the journey rather than judging the road that led there. My beloved soul, your soulmate is beginning to see exactly that. And as this realization grows stronger, the connection between your paths becomes harder to ignore. The truth has been spoken. The masks are falling. The misunderstandings are fading. And somewhere beyond what your eyes can currently see, a new chapter is quietly preparing to unfold. So do not let fear tell you that your story is already written. Do not let doubt convince you that yesterday has more power than tomorrow. Trust that what is meant for you will find its way. Trust that truth has its own timing. Trust that clarity arrives exactly when it is needed. And above all, trust that the person who is meant to see your heart will eventually recognize it for what it truly is: a soul that has survived, grown, healed, and continued to love despite everything it has been through. My beloved soul, this is only the beginning of what the truth is about to reveal. My beloved soul, let me take you even deeper into this message, because the story does not end with the truth being spoken. In many ways, that was only the beginning. The moment those honest words left someone's lips, an invisible ripple began moving through the lives connected to this situation. What had once been hidden in shadows suddenly found its way into the light, and when truth enters a space that has been occupied by confusion for too long, everything starts to change. Your soulmate may not have immediately reacted. They may not have said much at first. They may have appeared calm on the outside, but inside, something powerful was happening. They were thinking. They were reflecting. They were replaying conversations, memories, and feelings they had previously ignored. My beloved soul, there comes a moment in every important connection when a person can no longer pretend they do not feel what they feel. They can no longer dismiss the signs. They can no longer explain away the pull that keeps drawing them back towards someone. Your soulmate is approaching that moment. The truth they heard has become impossible to forget. It lingers in their thoughts during quiet hours. It returns when they least expect it. It appears in moments when they are alone with their own heart and can no longer hide behind distractions. The deeper truth is that they are beginning to see how much of their understanding of you was incomplete. They are realizing that there were pieces missing from the story. They are realizing that what they once believed was based on fragments rather than the whole picture. And as those missing pieces fall into place, their perception of you continues to transform. My beloved soul, there is something extraordinary about being truly seen. Not judged. Not misunderstood. Not viewed through someone else's version of events. Truly seen. For a long time, you may have felt like very few people understood the depth of your heart. You may have felt that your intentions were overlooked and your sacrifices forgotten. Yet now, a shift is occurring. Someone who matters is beginning to see beyond appearances. Someone who matters is beginning to understand the strength, loyalty, and sincerity that have always lived within you. And this understanding is creating an emotional awakening inside them. Listen closely because this part is important. Your soulmate is not only learning about who you are. They are learning about themselves. They are discovering why your presence affects them so deeply. They are discovering why your energy feels familiar even when circumstances seem complicated. They are discovering why thoughts of you return again and again, even when they try to focus elsewhere. My beloved soul, some connections cannot be explained through logic alone. Some connections speak directly to the soul. Your soulmate has been trying to make sense of what they feel, but the truth they recently heard has pushed them closer to an answer. It has forced them to confront emotions they were not ready to acknowledge before. It has encouraged them to look beyond surface-level assumptions and listen to the quiet voice inside their heart. And that voice keeps leading them back to you. The deeper truth is that your soulmate is starting to admire qualities about you that they once overlooked. They admire your resilience. They admire your ability to keep moving forward after disappointment. They admire the way you continue to care even after being hurt. They admire the kindness that remains within you despite everything you have experienced. These realizations are not small. They are powerful. Because admiration often becomes the foundation upon which deeper feelings are built. My beloved soul, there were moments when you believed that certain chapters of your life had ended without resolution. You wondered whether anyone would ever understand what truly happened. You wondered whether your silence allowed false narratives to survive. But the universe has its own way of correcting misunderstandings. Sometimes it uses unexpected people. Sometimes it uses unexpected conversations. Sometimes it reveals truth through channels nobody anticipated. And that is exactly what is happening now. The truth has found a voice. The truth has found ears willing to listen. And the truth is beginning to reshape perspectives in ways that will matter far more than you realize. Let me take you deeper still. Imagine your soulmate sitting quietly, reflecting on everything they have learned. Imagine them comparing what they heard recently with what they have personally sensed about you. Imagine them realizing that their intuition was right all along. Because deep down, part of them already knew there was more to your story. Deep down, part of them already felt that you were different from what others described. Now that feeling is being confirmed. Now that intuition is being validated. And that validation is strengthening their trust in their own heart. My beloved soul, when someone begins trusting their heart, they become much harder to influence with outside opinions. They stop allowing other people to define their reality. They stop allowing assumptions to guide their decisions. They start paying attention to their own experiences and feelings. This is exactly where your soulmate is heading. The voices that once created confusion are losing their power. The doubts that once created hesitation are beginning to fade. And in their place, a clearer understanding is emerging. A clearer understanding of you. A clearer understanding of this connection. A clearer understanding of what their heart has been trying to tell them. The truth is that your soulmate feels a growing curiosity about you. They want to know more. They want to understand more. They want to explore the parts of your story that nobody else bothered to ask about. Because the more they learn, the more they realize there is depth beneath the surface. There is wisdom beneath the pain. There is beauty beneath the struggle. And there is authenticity beneath the misunderstandings. My beloved soul, authenticity is rare. In a world filled with masks, genuine souls stand out. They may not always be appreciated immediately, but eventually their light becomes impossible to ignore. Your soulmate is beginning to recognize that light within you. They are beginning to understand that your value was never dependent on anyone else's opinion. They are beginning to understand that what makes you special cannot be measured by rumors, assumptions, or past events. It can only be understood through direct experience. And the more they trust their own experience of you, the stronger their feelings become. Listen closely because the energy surrounding this connection is changing. The walls are weakening. The resistance is softening. The distance that once felt permanent is becoming less certain. Your soulmate is entering a period of emotional clarity. And emotional clarity often leads to action. It often leads to conversations that need to happen. It often leads to truths that need to be expressed. It often leads to decisions that can no longer be postponed. My beloved soul, I am not telling you to rush. I am not telling you to force anything. The universe works best when things unfold naturally. But I am telling you that something important is happening beneath the surface. Something important is preparing itself. The truth that was spoken has started a process that cannot easily be reversed. Once a person sees clearly, they cannot return to ignorance. Once a person understands something deeply, they cannot pretend not to know it. Once a person realizes the value of someone, that realization continues to grow. And this realization is growing inside your soulmate right now. They are seeing things differently. They are feeling things differently. They are understanding things differently. And every day that passes brings them closer to the truth of their own heart. My beloved soul, your journey has never been about proving yourself worthy. Your journey has been about discovering that you already are. The right people eventually recognize what has always been there. The right connections eventually reveal their purpose. The right timing eventually arrives. So release the need to control every outcome. Release the fear that the past holds more power than the future. Release the belief that misunderstandings define your destiny. Because they do not. Truth is stronger than misunderstanding. Authenticity is stronger than illusion. And genuine connection is stronger than temporary confusion. The truth has finally been spoken, and now it is doing what truth always does, it is setting things in motion. It is opening eyes. It is awakening hearts. It is creating clarity where uncertainty once existed. And somewhere, perhaps much closer than you realize, your soulmate is beginning to understand that the story they were told about you was never the real story at all. The real story is only now beginning to reveal itself, and what they are discovering is changing everything. My beloved soul, stay with me a little longer because the energy surrounding this message continues to deepen, and what is unfolding now reaches far beyond a simple conversation or a single revelation. The truth that has finally been spoken is continuing to work beneath the surface like a seed planted in fertile ground. At first, nothing seems to happen. The world looks the same. The people involved appear unchanged. Life continues moving forward as it always has. Yet beneath the surface, roots are forming. Beneath the surface, something is growing. Beneath the surface, a transformation has already begun. Your soulmate may still be processing everything they have learned, but make no mistake, their perspective is no longer what it once was. They cannot unhear what was said. They cannot unknow what they now know. And they cannot ignore the growing feeling that there is far more to you than anyone ever explained. My beloved soul, sometimes the most powerful changes happen in silence. They happen during quiet moments when no one is watching. They happen late at night when a person is alone with their thoughts. They happen when distractions fade and the heart finally has room to speak. Your soulmate has been experiencing these moments more often than you realize. There have been times recently when your name entered their mind unexpectedly. Times when a memory connected to you resurfaced without warning. Times when they found themselves wondering about your life, your feelings, your journey, and the things you never said out loud. These moments may seem small, but they are not. They are signs of emotional awakening. They are signs that a deeper understanding is beginning to take shape. The deeper truth is that your soulmate is no longer interested in surface-level stories. They want authenticity. They want reality. They want to know who you truly are beneath all the labels, assumptions, and opinions that have surrounded your name. And the more they seek that truth, the more impressed they become by what they discover. My beloved soul, there is a strength within you that many people never fully appreciated. Not because it wasn't there, but because true strength often looks different than people expect. True strength is not always loud. It is not always dramatic. Sometimes true strength is simply continuing to move forward when life gives you every reason to stop. Sometimes true strength is choosing kindness when bitterness would be easier. Sometimes true strength is protecting your heart without allowing it to become hard. Your soulmate is beginning to recognize these qualities within you, and that recognition is changing the way they feel. They are starting to understand that your journey was not a story of failure. It was a story of growth. It was a story of survival. It was a story of transformation. And suddenly, the things that once seemed ordinary about you are appearing extraordinary in their eyes. My beloved soul, let me take you deeper because there is another layer to this message. The person connected to your ex who finally spoke the truth did more than reveal information. They unknowingly challenged a narrative that had existed for a long time. They challenged assumptions. They challenged perceptions. They challenged beliefs that had been accepted without question. And once those beliefs were challenged, people began looking at things differently. Your soulmate was one of those people. They started asking themselves questions they had never asked before. They started wondering whether they had overlooked important details. They started realizing that every story has multiple sides and that the truth often exists far beyond what people initially hear. My beloved soul, there is wisdom in this realization. Because when someone becomes willing to question old assumptions, they become open to new possibilities. And new possibilities are exactly what are beginning to emerge. The walls that once separated understanding from misunderstanding are beginning to crumble. The emotional distance created by incomplete information is beginning to shrink. The confusion that once clouded perception is beginning to clear. And in that clarity, your soulmate is finding something they did not expect. They are finding respect. They are finding admiration. They are finding a growing sense of emotional connection that feels increasingly difficult to ignore. Listen closely because this next part matters. Your soulmate is not simply learning about your past. They are learning about your character. They are learning how you handle difficult situations. They are learning how you responded to challenges. They are learning what kind of person you chose to be when life became complicated. And character always reveals itself over time. It cannot be faked forever. It cannot be hidden forever. Eventually, who a person truly is becomes visible. The truth that has recently surfaced is helping your soulmate see your character more clearly than ever before. My beloved soul, you may not realize how rare it is to encounter someone whose heart remains genuine after disappointment. Many people allow pain to make them cynical. Many people allow heartbreak to make them guarded. Many people allow betrayal to change the way they treat others. Yet despite everything you have experienced, there remains a softness within you. There remains hope within you. There remains a willingness to believe in something better. Your soulmate senses this, and it moves them more deeply than they know how to express. The deeper truth is that they are beginning to compare every assumption they once held against the reality they now perceive. And reality keeps winning. The more they observe, the more they understand. The more they understand, the more their feelings evolve. The more their feelings evolve, the harder it becomes for them to deny the significance of this connection. My beloved soul, there are moments in life when destiny does not arrive with loud announcements. It arrives quietly. It arrives through conversations that seem ordinary at first. It arrives through truths spoken at exactly the right moment. It arrives through realizations that slowly reshape a person's entire perspective. This is one of those moments. Something meaningful is happening. Something significant is unfolding. And although you may not yet see the full picture, pieces are moving into place. Your soulmate is becoming more aware of what their heart is trying to tell them. They are becoming more aware of what this connection means. They are becoming more aware that the version of you they are discovering feels far more real than anything they previously heard. My beloved soul, do not underestimate the power of being understood by the right person. The wrong people create confusion. The right people create clarity. The wrong people make you question your value. The right people remind you of it. The wrong people focus on your mistakes. The right people recognize your growth. And your soulmate is gradually moving toward that place of recognition. They are beginning to see not only who you were, but who you have become. They are beginning to appreciate the lessons hidden within your journey. They are beginning to admire the resilience that carried you through difficult chapters. And most importantly, they are beginning to understand that your story is not defined by your past. It is defined by your ability to rise above it. My beloved soul, the energy of this message is not about revenge, validation, or proving anyone wrong. It is about truth. Pure truth. The kind of truth that eventually rises no matter how deeply it is buried. The kind of truth that survives misunderstandings, survives distance, survives time itself. The truth about who you are is becoming impossible to ignore. The truth about your heart is becoming visible. The truth about this connection is becoming clearer with every passing day. And somewhere within your soulmate, a realization is growing stronger. A realization that they may have underestimated the importance of what they feel. A realization that their connection to you may be more meaningful than they first believed. A realization that some people enter our lives for reasons far greater than we initially understand. My beloved soul, trust the process that is unfolding. Trust the timing of these revelations. Trust the way truth has a habit of finding its way into the open. You do not need to chase understanding. You do not need to force clarity. What is meant to be seen will be seen. What is meant to be understood will be understood. And what is meant to come together will find its path. Right now, the universe is allowing truth to do its work. It is allowing illusions to fade. It is allowing misunderstandings to dissolve. It is allowing hearts to awaken. And as this awakening continues, your soulmate is finding themselves drawn toward a deeper appreciation of who you truly are. Not the version created by rumors. Not the version shaped by assumptions. The real you. The authentic you. The soul that kept going when life became difficult. The soul that continued believing when giving up would have been easier. The soul that carries wisdom, strength, and compassion in equal measure. And the more clearly they see that soul, the more impossible it becomes for them to look away. This is why the truth had to be spoken. This is why the timing matters. Because the next chapter cannot begin until clarity replaces confusion. And clarity, my beloved soul, is finally arriving. My beloved soul, as this story continues to unfold, there is something even more powerful happening behind the scenes, something that few people can see but many can feel. The truth that has finally been spoken is no longer just information. It has become energy. It has become a force moving through hearts, thoughts, emotions, and decisions. And the reason this matters is because energy always creates movement. Once truth enters a situation that has been clouded by confusion, nothing can remain exactly the same. Your soulmate is experiencing this shift right now. They may not fully understand it yet. They may not have all the answers. But they can feel something changing inside them. They can feel old beliefs loosening their grip. They can feel old doubts losing their power. They can feel a growing desire to understand you on a deeper level than ever before. My beloved soul, there are moments when the universe quietly tests people. Not to punish them, but to reveal what truly lives inside their hearts. Your soulmate has been going through one of those moments. They have been faced with a choice. They can continue believing incomplete stories, or they can trust what their own heart is showing them. And with every passing day, their heart is becoming louder. Their intuition is becoming stronger. Their feelings are becoming harder to ignore. The deeper truth is that something about you continues to stay with them. Something about your energy refuses to disappear. Even when they try to focus on other things, there are moments when thoughts of you return unexpectedly. A song reminds them of you. A conversation makes them think about you. A memory appears without warning. And each time it happens, they find themselves asking the same question: why does this connection feel so different? My beloved soul, the answer is beginning to reveal itself. The answer is not found in logic alone. It is not found in explanations given by other people. It is found in the truth of what they feel whenever they think of you. Because feelings that are not real eventually fade. Temporary attractions eventually disappear. Surface-level interest eventually loses its intensity. But genuine soul connections have a different nature. They continue pulling two people toward understanding even when circumstances seem complicated. They continue creating curiosity even when distance exists. They continue whispering to the heart long after the mind has tried to move on. Your soulmate is beginning to realize this. They are beginning to understand that what they feel cannot simply be dismissed. My beloved soul, let me take you deeper because there is another truth emerging. The person connected to your ex who finally spoke honestly did not expect the impact their words would have. They did not realize they were opening a door that had remained closed for a long time. Yet once that door opened, your soulmate began seeing things from a completely different perspective. Suddenly, details that once seemed unimportant became meaningful. Suddenly, moments they had overlooked began making sense. Suddenly, they started recognizing patterns they had never noticed before. And the more they reflected, the more they realized that the version of you they were discovering felt genuine, consistent, and real. My beloved soul, authenticity has a unique power. It does not need to shout. It does not need to convince everyone. It simply remains true. And over time, truth proves itself. This is exactly what is happening now. The truth about you is proving itself. Your character is proving itself. Your intentions are proving themselves. The universe is allowing your actions, your resilience, and your energy to speak louder than any misunderstanding ever could. And because of this, your soulmate is finding it increasingly difficult to ignore what their heart already knows. The deeper truth is that admiration is turning into something more. Respect is turning into emotional investment. Curiosity is turning into attachment. Understanding is turning into connection. These changes may seem invisible from the outside, but inside your soulmate they are very real. They are creating emotional movement. They are creating emotional growth. They are creating a powerful awareness that this connection may hold more significance than they originally believed. My beloved soul, there is a reason why certain people continue crossing our minds. There is a reason why certain names stay in our hearts. There is a reason why some connections refuse to disappear no matter how much time passes. These connections often carry lessons, growth, healing, and destiny within them. Your soulmate is beginning to sense that your connection belongs in this category. They are beginning to sense that there is unfinished understanding between you. They are beginning to sense that the universe may have brought your paths together for reasons far greater than coincidence. Listen closely because this next part is important. Your soulmate is not only seeing your value. They are also recognizing what they stand to lose if they ignore this connection. For the first time, they are beginning to understand that some opportunities do not appear twice. Some people cannot be replaced. Some souls leave an imprint that remains forever. This realization can be frightening because it forces a person to become honest with themselves. It forces them to confront feelings they may have been avoiding. It forces them to acknowledge truths they can no longer deny. And that is exactly where your soulmate is heading. My beloved soul, there may have been times when you felt forgotten. Times when you wondered whether anyone truly understood your heart. Times when you questioned whether your journey had any deeper purpose. But the universe has been working quietly behind the scenes. Every lesson you learned. Every tear you cried. Every challenge you survived. Every moment you chose growth instead of bitterness. None of it was wasted. It all shaped the person you have become. And now, someone is beginning to see the beauty within that transformation. Someone is beginning to recognize the strength hidden behind your struggles. Someone is beginning to appreciate the wisdom hidden within your experiences. My beloved soul, the truth has started a chain reaction. First came awareness. Then came reflection. Next comes emotional clarity. And emotional clarity often leads to action. It leads to conversations that need to happen. It leads to questions that need answers. It leads to feelings that need expression. The universe moves in stages, and your soulmate is moving through those stages now. They are awakening to a reality they once overlooked. They are awakening to feelings they once questioned. They are awakening to possibilities they once ignored. And with every step forward, their connection to you becomes stronger. The deeper truth is that your soulmate is beginning to trust their own heart more than the opinions of others. This is one of the most important shifts a person can experience. Because once someone starts trusting their heart, they stop allowing fear to control their choices. They stop allowing assumptions to dictate their future. They stop allowing outside voices to determine what is possible. Instead, they begin following what feels real. And what feels real to them is becoming impossible to deny. My beloved soul, there is a powerful difference between being noticed and being truly valued. Many people may notice someone, but very few take the time to understand them. Your soulmate is moving beyond noticing. They are moving toward understanding. They are moving toward appreciation. They are moving toward a recognition of your true worth. And that recognition carries enormous power because it is based on truth rather than illusion. As this process continues, your soulmate is discovering that the more they learn about you, the more respect they feel. The more respect they feel, the more emotionally invested they become. The more emotionally invested they become, the more impossible it becomes to ignore what is growing inside their heart. My beloved soul, this is why the truth had to come out. Not to create conflict. Not to reopen old wounds. But to create clarity. Because clarity is the foundation upon which real connections are built. Without clarity there is confusion. Without clarity there is hesitation. Without clarity there is distance. But now clarity is arriving. The fog is lifting. The misunderstandings are fading. The hidden truths are emerging. And your soulmate is finally beginning to see what has been there all along. They are beginning to see your heart. They are beginning to see your strength. They are beginning to see your authenticity. And most importantly, they are beginning to see the significance of the connection they share with you. My beloved soul, trust this process. Trust that truth always finds its way to the surface. Trust that genuine connections are guided by forces greater than temporary confusion. Trust that what is meant to unfold will unfold at the perfect time. Because the story is far from over. In many ways, it is only now entering its most important chapter. The chapter where illusions fall away, hearts awaken, and the truth becomes impossible to ignore. And as that chapter continues to unfold, your soulmate is moving closer and closer to a realization that has the power to change everything. My beloved soul, as we reach the final part of this message, I want you to listen with your heart more than your mind, because the truth that has been unfolding throughout this journey leads to one final realization. Everything that has happened up until this point, the conversations, the misunderstandings, the hidden observations, the unexpected truth that was finally spoken, has been preparing the ground for something much bigger than anyone involved originally understood. What seemed like a simple revelation was actually the beginning of an awakening. What seemed like an ordinary conversation was actually the universe creating an opportunity for clarity. And what seemed like a small shift in perspective has now become something powerful enough to change the direction of a heart. My beloved soul, your soulmate can no longer see you the way they once did. The old image has faded. The assumptions have weakened. The confusion has lost its grip. What remains now is something far more real. What remains is the growing awareness of who you truly are. And the more they see that truth, the more difficult it becomes for them to ignore the impact you have had on their life. There is a moment that arrives in every meaningful connection when a person must stop running from what they feel and start facing it. Your soulmate is approaching that moment. They are approaching the point where honesty becomes easier than avoidance. They are approaching the point where silence becomes heavier than expression. They are approaching the point where their heart demands answers that only truth can provide. My beloved soul, there have been nights when your soulmate appeared calm on the outside but carried a storm within. Nights when they replayed words they had heard about you. Nights when they remembered moments connected to you. Nights when they wondered why your presence continued to linger in their thoughts. And each time they searched for an explanation, they found themselves returning to the same realization. The connection feels real. The pull feels real. The curiosity feels real. The emotions feel real. And once a person reaches that understanding, everything begins to change. Because reality has a power that assumptions can never compete with. The truth that was spoken has become impossible to dismiss. It keeps confirming what their intuition has been whispering all along. It keeps reinforcing what their heart already suspected. It keeps revealing that there is far more depth, sincerity, and beauty within you than anyone ever gave you credit for. My beloved soul, this is why the universe never rushed this process. If everything had happened too quickly, the lesson would have been missed. The understanding would have remained incomplete. But now the pieces have come together at exactly the right time. Now the truth has had room to reveal itself. Now your soulmate has reached a place where they can truly appreciate what they are discovering. The deeper truth is that your soulmate has begun seeing you not through the eyes of other people, but through the eyes of their own heart. And that changes everything. Because when someone starts seeing you through their own heart, they stop looking for reasons to doubt. They stop searching for flaws. They stop allowing fear to guide their perception. Instead, they begin focusing on what feels genuine. They begin focusing on what feels meaningful. They begin focusing on what feels irreplaceable. My beloved soul, your soulmate is beginning to understand that some people enter our lives to teach lessons, while others enter our lives to change us forever. And they are slowly realizing that your presence belongs in the second category. You have affected them in ways they cannot fully explain. You have challenged them to think differently. You have inspired emotions they did not expect. You have awakened questions that refuse to disappear. And now, as truth continues to replace confusion, they are starting to understand why. Listen closely because this final message carries something important. Do not allow your past to convince you that you are unworthy of the future that is trying to find you. Do not allow old disappointments to make you doubt what is possible. Do not allow fear to speak louder than faith. Everything you have survived has prepared you for greater understanding. Everything you have learned has prepared you for greater clarity. Everything you have endured has strengthened your soul in ways you may not yet fully appreciate. The truth that has finally been spoken is not simply about what someone said regarding your past. It is about what that truth revealed regarding your future. It revealed that misunderstandings do not last forever. It revealed that authenticity eventually shines through. It revealed that genuine hearts are eventually recognized. And it revealed that some connections are stronger than the obstacles that once stood between them. My beloved soul, if you have felt tired, take comfort in knowing that clarity is replacing confusion. If you have felt unseen, take comfort in knowing that someone is beginning to see you more clearly than ever before. If you have felt misunderstood, take comfort in knowing that truth has already started correcting the story. And if you have questioned whether your journey has meaning, remember this: every challenge carried a lesson, every lesson carried growth, and every moment of growth brought you closer to becoming the person you are today. Your soulmate is beginning to recognize that person. They are beginning to recognize your resilience, your compassion, your courage, and your authenticity. They are beginning to understand that what makes you special cannot be measured by anyone else's opinion. It can only be felt through direct experience. And the more they experience your energy, the more impossible it becomes for them to ignore what their heart is telling them. The final truth, my beloved soul, is this: the chapter of misunderstanding is ending. The chapter of clarity is beginning. The masks are falling. The illusions are fading. The hidden truths are rising to the surface. And somewhere, in a place you cannot yet fully see, your soulmate is moving closer to a realization that changes everything. A realization that your story is not what they were told. A realization that your heart is not what others assumed. A realization that the connection they feel with you is real, meaningful, and impossible to forget. So walk forward with confidence. Walk forward with faith. Walk forward knowing that truth is now working in your favor. Because what is real does not need to chase validation. What is real simply reveals itself over time. And now, after all the silence, after all the confusion, after all the unanswered questions, the truth has finally found its voice. And that voice is guiding this connection toward a future that is only beginning to unfold. The truth has been spoken. The awakening has begun. And nothing will ever be exactly the same again.